Imagine a world where diseases no longer existed. No flu, no migraines, no cancer. Sounds like a dream, doesn't it? But what if this really happened? What would change in our lives, in society, and even on the planet? Today, we're diving into the incredible, and sometimes unexpected, consequences of a world completely free from diseases. Get ready for a journey full of surprises as we discuss everything from the benefits to the ethical and social challenges of this new reality. You might think you already know what would happen, but I guarantee some of these possibilities will surprise you. Are we ready for such a world? Stick around until the end to find out. Increased life expectancy. If all diseases were cured, living beyond 100 years would no longer be a rarity. Reaching 150 or even 200 years old could become the norm. Imagine a world where 3-digit birthdays were celebrated with 150-shaped balloons. Fascinating, right? But greater longevity would bring challenges as big as the achievements. To begin with, retirement systems would need a complete overhaul. Retiring at 60 and living another century would be unsustainable. New work dynamics might emerge, like periodic breaks for mini-retirements, allowing people to enjoy rest periods before returning to the workforce. Jobs tailored for older individuals, such as career mentors or consultancy specialists, where experience is invaluable, would also become more common. On the emotional side, living so long would require resilience. Differences in life rhythms would become apparent. Friends and family might age and pass away at different times. Every decade, new friendships and relationships would need to be formed, creating a cycle of emotional renewal. Additionally, keeping up with technological and cultural changes would be challenging. Imagine someone born in 1950 adapting to the world of 2150 with immersive virtual realities and human colonies on Mars. Still, the advantages are irresistible. We'd have time to pursue once unimaginable dreams, learning 10 languages, completing every marathon worldwide, or even spending years traveling to every corner of the planet. Everyone could build a life full of stories, free from the pressure of a biological clock. However, the impacts wouldn't be purely personal. Governments and societies would face the challenge of overpopulation, as living longer would mean a constant increase in the global population. Cities would need to be designed to last centuries, and natural resources managed with extreme efficiency. The cure for diseases would promise longer and fuller lives, but would also challenge us to completely rethink how we live. The big question would be, are we prepared for so many decades? Population explosion. Without diseases, mortality rates would plummet, but birth rates might remain high, at least initially. The result would be an unprecedented population boom. Imagine a world where every corner is occupied, from megacities, with increasingly taller skyscrapers, to communities under the ocean or in orbit around Earth. One of the first impacts would be pressure on natural resources. With more mouths to feed, agriculture would need to evolve rapidly, perhaps through vertical farming, lab-grown foods, or even bold technologies like 3D printed meals. Water would become an even more precious resource. Governments and scientists might invest heavily in desalination technologies and creative recycling methods. Transportation would also undergo transformations. Traffic jams would become even more frequent, accelerating the adoption of flying cars, ultra-fast trains, and drone-based transit systems. With such population growth, smart and sustainable cities wouldn't just be a trend, but an absolute necessity. The population explosion would also have cultural and social implications. Leisure spaces would become more contested, and coexistence among diverse cultures and lifestyles would require greater mutual understanding. On the other hand, the search for collective solutions might strengthen global cooperation. Perhaps the world would finally set aside differences to tackle common problems like overcrowding and environmental preservation. Not everything would be about challenges, though. With more people in the world, there would be more brilliant minds to solve these problems. Imagine how technological progress could accelerate with billions of collaborators. The population increase could spark a new golden age of innovation, from clean energy to space exploration, which might become the ultimate solution, colonizing other planets. Ultimately, the population explosion would remind us that even without diseases, humanity would need to balance growth with sustainability. After all, living longer and in greater numbers would only be worthwhile if we could share a harmonious world. Impact on the pharmaceutical and medical industries. Without diseases, a complete revolution would occur in the pharmaceutical and medical industries. Overnight, medications, vaccines, and treatments for conditions like diabetes, hypertension, and cancer would become obsolete. Large corporations would need to reinvent themselves to survive, and hospitals, once overcrowded, would become nearly unrecognizable. Imagine the immediate impact: pharmacy shelves without life-saving medications. Instead, these companies might shift to a market focused on improving quality of life. Vitamins, supplements, and technologies for physical and mental enhancement could become the sector's new backbone. How about a pill that boosts your memory or enhances your physical endurance for a marathon? Hospitals, previously filled with patients, would transform into wellness centers, focusing on regenerative therapies and genetic enhancements. Cosmetic and reparative surgeries, for example, might become as common as basic medical consultations, now with revolutionary advancements. Medical science would turn its focus to the future, researching areas like youth extension, AI integration with the human body, and even genetic modifications to create superhumans. On the other hand, healthcare workers would face a challenging scenario. Many would lose their jobs during the transition, while others would need to specialize in new fields, such as advanced biotechnology or preventive medicine focused on longevity. Medical education would be completely redesigned to meet the new demands of a healthy population seeking optimization. However, the economic impact would also be enormous. Pharmaceutical companies that once generated trillions of dollars through treatments would be forced to reinvent their business models. One example would be focusing on research to help humanity explore space or create medications that optimize adaptation to different planetary environments. Ultimately, this impact wouldn't be entirely negative. The absence of diseases would free up significant financial resources previously allocated to public health, allowing investments in other areas such as education, technology, and environmental preservation. However, the transformation would depend on wise global leadership to ensure the transition benefits everyone and doesn't widen inequalities. Transformation of medical science. With all diseases eradicated, medical science would enter a new era where the challenges would no longer be saving lives, but enhancing them. Without the urgency of fighting illnesses, medical resources and efforts would shift toward advancements that today seem like science fiction. Imagine, for instance, laboratories developing ways to reverse aging. Instead of merely prolonging life, scientists could work to keep the body young and functional for longer. Picture 100-year-olds running marathons or starting new careers. This could become the new reality. Genetic engineering would also take on an unprecedented role. Instead of curing hereditary diseases, we could modify our DNA to withstand extreme conditions. Visiting Mars? No problem. Just a slight genetic tweak to endure the harsh environment. Perhaps even humans adapted to live underwater could become a reality. Additionally, the integration of technology into the human body would become one of the most promising fields. Implants that enhance memory, improve senses, or even boost intelligence could become as common as glasses or hearing aids are today. The next great leap in human evolution might not come from biology, but from the fusion of man and machine. What about mental health? Without the burden of physical illnesses, science could focus even more on understanding and improving brain function. Advanced therapies to reduce anxiety, enhance creativity, or even enable lucid dreaming on demand could become the new focus of modern medicine. This transformation, however, would raise significant ethical questions. To what extent would it be acceptable to modify the essence of being human? Who would have access to these advancements? And how could we prevent inequalities from deepening, creating an elite of superhumans, while the rest of the population remains ordinary? Nevertheless, medical science without diseases would be a spectacle of innovation. Rather than limiting itself to healing, it would give us wings to achieve the impossible. The question is, are we ready to use this power wisely? Changes in human evolution. With all diseases cured, the natural evolution of humanity would undergo a profound shift. Natural selection, which historically favored those most resistant to illnesses, would be replaced by a new force, human intervention. For the first time, we would become the architects of our own biological future. Without diseases eliminating the most vulnerable, the human gene pool would remain more diverse than ever. At first glance, this might seem positive, but it would also bring new challenges. Traits that were once disadvantageous in the fight against diseases could persist, requiring constant interventions to correct or improve certain genetic characteristics. Biotechnology would take on the role of natural selection. Imagine parents designing their children with specific traits, from eye color to enhanced cognitive or physical abilities. On the other hand, this would spark a massive ethical debate. Who would decide what is ideal in a human being? Could we risk creating a society based on artificial standards of perfection? Another transformation would be human adaptation to extreme environments. Without the pressure of diseases, humanity could focus on expanding physical boundaries. Genetically adapted humans capable of surviving in scorching deserts or freezing regions might emerge, as well as bodies designed to withstand zero gravity during long space missions. Despite these advancements, emotional and social issues would also come into play. The concept of being human could change radically. Today, we value our individuality and imperfections, but in a world where biology is malleable, would we continue to see ourselves as equals? Furthermore, the absence of diseases wouldn't mean the end of threats to humanity. With our biological evolution in human hands, a single error could have devastating consequences, such as the emergence of uncontrolled mutations or superorganisms. The changes in human evolution would bring incredible opportunities, but also force us to look in the mirror and ask, are we ready to take responsibility for the future of our species? Ethical and social challenges. With the cure for all diseases, the world would face unprecedented ethical and social dilemmas. Would a universal cure truly be universal, or only accessible to a privileged elite? These questions would spark heated debates, especially in a world already marked by inequalities. Imagine the scene. While wealthy countries would have easy access to advanced technologies and new preventive treatments, developing nations might struggle to distribute these advancements to their populations. This could create an even greater divide between the superhumans of developed nations and the populations of less privileged regions. A massive global effort would be necessary to ensure that everyone has the same opportunities. Moreover, the dilemma of global overcrowding would raise ethical questions. How would we decide who has the right to reproduce in a world where resources are already scarce? Governments might implement strict population control policies similar to China's one-child policy. However, such measures wouldn't be easily accepted and could lead to deep social tensions. Another critical aspect would be the impact on medical ethics. Without diseases, new dilemmas would arise. How far is it acceptable to modify the human body to enhance it? Who would decide which modifications are ethical or safe? Ethical and scientific institutions would have to work closely together to create regulations that keep pace with technological advancements. Personal relationships would also be affected. In a world without the threat of terminal illnesses, how we view life and our emotional connections could change drastically. Marriages, for example, could last centuries. Would we still uphold the concept of forever, or would we create new, more flexible forms of commitment? Despite the challenges, humanity would also have a unique opportunity to reinvent itself. Perhaps without diseases, we could redirect our energy towards solving problems like hunger, climate change, and inequality. The great challenge would be ensuring that these changes benefit everyone, not just a select few. Redefining social priorities. With the cure for all diseases, humanity's focus would shift dramatically. Today, a significant portion of global efforts is directed toward health and combating epidemics. But without these threats, society could concentrate its resources on resolving other long-standing problems and exploring new frontiers. Imagine a world where the billions spent annually on medical treatments were redirected toward education, science, and technology. Schools could receive massive investments, providing universal, high-quality access. This would allow every individual to reach their full potential, regardless of where they were born. Furthermore, global issues such as climate change and environmental preservation would gain absolute priority. With humanity free from diseases, we could dedicate more time and energy to reversing the damage caused to the planet and creating a sustainable future. Perhaps deforested areas could be replanted on a large scale, and new technologies could transform the oceans into renewable sources of energy and food. Space exploration would also become a significant focus. Without diseases limiting our bodies or lifespans, the dream of colonizing other planets would be more feasible than ever. Imagine humanity working together to build cities on Mars or bases on the Moon. The cure for diseases could be the first step toward becoming an interplanetary species. Culturally, living without the threat of diseases might make us more optimistic. People could value their time more, seeking new forms of art, music, and creative expression. On the other hand, the absence of physical suffering might change how we deal with emotional and existential challenges. Would we still appreciate moments of triumph as deeply? Finally, redefining social priorities would be a golden opportunity for humanity to reevaluate its values. Without the immediate pressure of diseases, perhaps we could unite in ways that were previously impossible. The question is, would we be wise enough to seize this chance? The cure for all diseases would undoubtedly be a revolution for humanity. From increased life expectancy to the redefinition of our societal priorities, the impact would be profound in every aspect of our lives. But as we've explored, this new world would bring both benefits and challenges. Population explosions, ethical shifts in human evolution, and the transformation of medical science are just a few of the issues we'd need to address. What do you think? Do you agree with the conclusions presented? Have we missed any critical points you'd like to discuss? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to stay updated with more videos like this. Oh, and check out the next video that's popping up on your screen now. See you there.